Welcome you all to the lecture video session on objectives. In the previous videos, we discussed about the important areas, the key areas, and then what are the characteristics of the objectives and why the objectives have to be set, and the whether it should be tangible or intangible, or whether it should be prioritized. All this, we discussed in the previous session. In the coming session, in this session we are going to discuss about the importance and advantages of objectives. We are going to discuss about the planning premises and so on. Objectives, as we know, that it is going to provide the direction for the individual efforts so that it becomes the company objective, and then the company will achieve the success and in terms of objectives and in terms of meeting the objective. And it also provides, the objectives will also provide a strong basis for determining the policies, procedures, strategies, programs, budgets and other plans. It helps in achieving the personal goals as well. As we were discussing about achieving, if a fresher is going to enter into the company with an objective of becoming a production manager in down the lane in 5 years, the each and every objective that is set by the company in terms of his workplace and in terms of his work would definitely lead him to the success with his dedication and then the hard work. And by providing this kind of objectives, each individual would be able to proceed further and then ladder up so that they will be able to have a satisfaction in terms of achieving the objective as well as personal satisfaction. It helps in delegating the authority to know which is going to be which task can be delegated and who could be delegated and who is going to be the better person, so that they would be able to achieve this particular objective and they will take it ahead. So this kind of delegation of authority is possible, and this is going to be one of the important advantage of the objective. And objective serves as a standards for evaluating, and then it helps in controlling and measuring of the plans. It helps in good coordination that could be established between the various departments who are working towards the common objective, and it also involves the people so that it becomes a point of reference to the people who are involved in this particular objective. So after knowing the importance or advantages of the plans, let's understand what is planning premises and why it should be established. As we already know that planning premises revolves around the assumptions of the future, and it is very futuristic in nature, and it depends on the future market conditions. The planning premises has to be established in order to lay down the plans today, so that it is going to help in order to achieve the objectives that are laid by the company. So how do we establish the planning premises? And we need to understand the planning premises thoroughly. So when we understand the planning premises thoroughly, we understand that basically the basic assumptions of the future market conditions have to be worked out and have to be considered in order to establish the planning premises. It is a process of creating the assumptions about the future tendencies of the market and to prepare the today's objective according to that. And this planning has to be properly reiterated, and then it has to be ultimately formulated, making the future assumptions, and then the plan that we are going to make today has to respond to the future market conditions. Planning premises are to be established even before the actual planning is done or is laid. So the planning premises forms the framework for the entire plan that we are going to formulate, within which the plan has to operate. The planning premises is like a boundary that is going to give, and it is going to create a framework, and the planning premises forms the bedrock on which the planning has to be developed, upon which the planning has to be placed. So planning premises are very, very important for the success of the planning, and they reveal the past and they compare the history, and it will be very easy to lay down the proper plans in order to achieve the success, keeping the objective in mind. And it is totally information related to the future, such as economic conditions, market conditions, productions, and then the the changes that are happening in the technology outside, cost competition, availability of the materials, resources, capital, and then the government policies, population trends, and these are the one which are going to decide the proper plan. if we establish the proper planning premises, the plans that are laid out by the company would definitely work out by with the expected speed. So there are three different types of planning premises. The first one is the internal and external planning premises. Internal premises are the premises within the organization. If we take the example for this internal premises, we can say policies are the internal premises, forecasts are the internal premises, investments, availability of the equipment, capability of the workforce, expertise, funds flow are the internal premises. When we think about the external premises, as the name itself says that external premises are the planning premises which are outside the organization. They include the government policies, technological changes, business environment, economic conditions, population, buying power, political stability, social factors, and then the demand for the product. These are some of the examples of the external premises. The second type of the planning premises are tangible and intangible premises. Tangible premises are the one which could be measured, which could be touched, which could be felt. So tangible premises are the measurable premises and are quantifiable in nature. So this we discussed earlier. And what are quantifiable in nature? Quantifiable in nature goes with the numbers. So it could be the population index, it could be the interest that you are going to calculate, it could be the demand, it could be the data analytics, it could be the capital that is required, it could be the machinery to procure, and it could be the purchasing of the materials. So these are the tangible premises, and this could be quantifiable in nature. What are intangible premises? Intangible premises are cannot be measured. It cannot be touched, and it could be only felt. So intangible premises are the indirect ones, and they are the abstract, and they are very abstract in nature, and which cannot be measured. So once it cannot be measured, it will be quality. It is a quality that comes into the picture. So intangible premises are qualitative in nature, and this could be the examples for this could be employees morale, it could be business environment that we are going to create, it is a working environment that is going to motivate the people, it is a technological change that is happening around the world. These are the qualitative ones, and then this is the intangible premises. The third most important type of planning premises is controllable, semi-controllable and uncontrollable premises. Controllable premises are completely under the control of the management. For example, technical manpower, the recruitment of people, the input technology, the machineries that are procured, the financial investment. These are the controllable premises. Semi-controllable premises are partially controllable, and this could be the examples for this could be the workers' attitude and efficiency, firms' the pricing policy, the cost profitability, the firms that are making the marketing progress, and then the raw material supply are semi-controllable premises. Why these are called as semi-controllable? Because it is influenced, the partial influence of the outside premises is there in this particular planning premises. Half of it is controlled by us, whereas the rest of the half is controlled by the external environment. That's why it is known as semi-controllable premises. Coming on to the last one, that is uncontrollable premises. What are these uncontrollable planning premises? These premises are absolutely uncontrollable. This doesn't have any control at all. So what are these uncontrollable premises? We all can understand and imagine the best example for this uncontrollable planning premises is the natural calamities. We have seen the COVID-19 situation, how it has affected the business all around the globe. This is uncontrollable one. And you can think about the tsunami for a particular country, and this is uncontrollable one. Volcanoes, any natural calamities that is going to happen is the uncontrollable planning premises. And the new inventions that are happening, one nation could lead the other nation. This planning premises, this premises cannot be controlled. And the strikes, the labor strikes, it could be any kind of strikes, it is the nationwide strike. This is uncontrollable. Imposition of emergency by the government due to any kind of disturbances that is happening inside the nation, that is uncontrollable. Non-availability of the material, non-availability of the material due to the wars, So we have understood about the types of the planning premises. We understood about internal and external planning premises, tangible and intangible planning premises, controllable, semi-controllable and uncontrollable planning premises, and why the planning premises have to be in place and how the planning could be executed on a proper planning premises that is established on the future assumptions. We discussed about all this, and we understood that proper planning would definitely lead to the success of the company. In order to have the proper planning of the long range or short range, we have to establish the planning premises. With this, we are going to complete the planning premises discussion. So that see you all in the next video on the types of the plans. Thank you very much.